Yo.
What is going on, everybody?
We always have the most entertaining conversations right before this and right when we press record. So let's fucking dive in, baby. Goal
Welcome.
setting.
Welcome to the golden goal setting.
Yeah. Yeah. For if anyone doesn't get hype when they look at goal setting, you're doing it wrong. Okay. When I talk about goal setting, like I actually am so fucking hype about it because this is like the framework. This is like the step-by-step across the river. You got like yourself, you're on one side of a river, and on the other side of the river is like everything that you want. And the river itself, though, is fucking treacherous, right? So you need stones, you need boulders to jump on and to get across, or a raft or something. This is the raft, right? And so we're gonna dive in, not dive into the river though, because you'll be swept away, right? You're gonna dive into the raft with us, and we're gonna fucking go on a wild ride.
Now, the first thing to look at before we lay out a really, you're gonna love this goal setting sequence. I know it. But before that, the first thing to look at is if you have reactions or resistances to goal setting, where have you learned to not trust yourself in regards to setting goals and hitting your goals? Ask yourself that right now. What comes up when I say that? If you felt something, where have you learned to not trust yourself when setting goals? Then you got something to look at. Then if you don't clarify this thinking, then this how that we're about to give you that's juicy as hell, it's not going to do it for you. So really take the opportunity. Throughout this audio, you're going to have a lot of opportunities to slow down and pause the audio and do some work. Okay. And I would suggest if you just felt something that came up, it'd be extremely valuable for you to take that apart and look at where you have been predictably untrustworthy or mistrusted for yourself. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Here's a real cool thing I just want to share quick, because so again, for those of you who have Technotutor, right, throw in this question. Say, where do I not trust myself, with a question mark? And even if you don't have Technotutor, like you'll still get something out of it. But here's the profoundness, right? Seth, I'm sure he won't mind me sharing this because I believe he shared this on the call. But it was like a month ago. We were in Arizona, and he put into his Technotutor. He says something like, "Where do I not trust myself?" Question mark. Put that in Technotutor. It was like 8 hours later. We're walking through the airport, and he's like, "Holy shit!" He looks at me. He's like, "Wait." He's like, I just realized something. It was like it came out of nowhere, right? Well, it came out of his unconscious mind. Obviously, we know that. But he had the understanding. He's like, wow, when I was a child, I went over to my friend's house and I was so excited because I had a new PlayStation 2 and we were going to play games and stuff. And he's like, I met him at the park and I had on my PlayStation 2 in a bag and I left it on the bench. And then his mom came to pick us up because we were having the sleepover. And I just left and I forgot the PlayStation 2 at the park. They went back later and it was gone, right? And in that moment, Seth accepted the belief that I can't trust myself, okay? That was when he was like 10. Damn. Yo, think about the significance of that, right? So then he did the process, right? He did his TT, his self-forgiveness. He rectified that. And now look at him. The dude's fucking crushing. I just chatted with him last night. He's like, hey, I just had my best week yet. Like, boom, let's fucking go. Plus all the other stuff, Seth. Right? Like him and Amy, right? They got their partnership. They got a fucking awesome house in Minneapolis now. Like, they're just moving, right? And point is, right, Seth is someone who knows how to fucking crush it with his goals because he did that deep inner work, right? And so I just wanted to share that because, again, listen, what Asif's saying, if you're going through this audio and we suggest something, just pause the audio and then go do the thing and then come back, right? The audio will still be here, right? Maybe we'll get deplatformed one day, but not for now. And so, right, we're a little too controversial here because we're helping empower the average person instead of just the elite class, right? We're not disempowering the average person. Like YouTube wants you to, they want you to be fucking disempowered. Like, actually,
these are the secrets that they don't want you to know about. This is the empowerment that they don't want you to have.
Wait. Shout out to anyone who remembers the audio we made on change they to we, right? We talked about how we so typically are like, well, they don't want you to know, and they are making us feel bad, and we changed it to we, right? So these are this.
Let me preface it. If you're not stopping to do the exercises, if you're not or placing time in your schedule to do these exercises, these are the secrets that you don't want you to know about.
Yes,
These are the
yes.
secrets that we don't want.
Yeah. This is what, you don't know. You don't want to know, right? But yeah, and what I do, man, here's just super fucking pro tip, right? Because I'm a beast at productivity. I know that I am, right? Because I've
True.
proven it time and time again. I've helped other
Yep.
people prove it time and time
Hook
again.
me up
What you
hardcore.
do, what you need an app on your phone that's just notes. Use the fucking pre-loaded one. I got iPhone, so I know they got notes, and it syncs up with my laptop. It's fucking gold. Now, ask if you got the Android, did they come pre-installed with some notes app?
It depends what phone you have, but I use OneNote because it's very simple and it synchronizes with my laptop as well.
Perfect. So just use OneNote if you don't got an iPhone.
I think it comes with Microsoft Office. Like you should already have it on your devices.
Yes. Okay. Sick. And so then, and you just have one note inside your OneNote or inside your notes. So it's one specific note, and this is like your to-do list. This is like your master note. It's like your ultimate thing, right? And I call mine, right, because I have two words that I really like that I'm working to live, right? And it's billionaire, and the other one is the word kingmaker. You put that one in the dictionary, right?
Let's go.
You need to understand what that is. So it says billionaire kingmaker with a cool emoji at the top, right? So and it's all in bold and it's all caps. So when I'm scrolling through my notes on my phone, I easily find it. Now, extra pro tip, with the new version of iPhone, you can pin notes to the top. You just hold your thumb down on it, and then you can pin it in. And so I have this pin to the very top, right? And then this is my specific note where then under it, I write out my action steps. And I always do next obvious action, right? If you don't know what that is, you got to reach out. Like if you're not doing this, your productivity is probably 10% of what it could be. And then you write the next obvious action of what you got to do and put right in front of it a number, 4, 3, 2, or 1, based on the level of impact that it's going to do for yourself. So this would be like a 4, right? And you could say you're 4. And then as we go throughout this, we're going to give you the action steps to do. So again, you can do it real time, or you can put it in your to-do list note, and then boom, and then just go do the damn thing, right? Because this is where greatness is made, or this is where you prove again to yourself that you can't trust yourself. So which are you going to do, right? The choice is yours, right? So let's dive in. You ready, Asif?
Yeah, baby.
All
and
right.
look, here's a prerequisite to goal setting. Okay, it's one key prerequisite that we're always going to keep talking about, because if this is not clear, none of it will work long term. It is purpose. If your purpose is not clear, none of this is going to work long term. You'll get some results, but you will always fall if you don't understand what your purpose is.
Yeah, and it will always be lurking.
Everything.
It will be lurking in the back of your mind like a fucking like animal. Just like
I don't know. I'm alive.
Yeah, exactly.
Shut up.
Or you're like,
I'm trying to make money.
my
Shut up.
my purpose is to fuck bitches and get money. Yeah. It's like that's a black hole, and you're not actually being a human being. You're just being a slave.
You're not going to be happy after that. You're like, shut up, just let me fuck bitches and get money.
Exactly, right? The true fulfillment will come from what we go into right here. So yes, purpose first must be clear. Ideally, you could write, so this would be action step 1. Write out your purpose or mission in a sentence or 2, right? Just do a draft, right? Simple one, man. But write it down in a place where you can review it often, right? Your purpose, like, hey, like my purpose, like I'm here, like for me, right? I'm here to create a world that's best for all through changing the education system, political system, and economic system. Boom. So simple, right? But it's like I know it, right? It's right there. It's so simple. So there's that, right? And then,
and for those of you who don't know, like me and Mitch have the same purpose. It's like you read it off my fucking paper. So
yeah, bro. No, so I actually read your purpose. My bad, bro. Mine's a little different.
Oh, dude, read yours.
Mine includes having animals on my homestead.
That's good.
Make the world best for all.
Include...
Well, that includes animals anyway. No, I'm just playing everyone. It's literally those 3 systems are so critical, right? Education, politics, and the economic system, right? So we can make it even more fucking amazing for everybody on Earth. Let's do that. So in order to do that, though, right, we need a new 1%, which is why we have the Young Billionaires Club. That's what you're tuned into, baby. So now, right, you got your purpose clear enough, right? Just get it good enough. Okay. Next, now, what we're going to do is you're going to take 4 minutes, right? Right. Sounds like homework, right? 4 minutes, right? Well, if you don't have 4 minutes for yourself, you're fucked. So 4 minutes, right? What you're going to do is you're going to write out your ideal lifestyle in the next 1 to 2 years. I kind of like 2 years as a time horizon because,
Yeah.
it's like not too far in the future, but it's close enough. And you're going to write out your ideal lifestyle. Okay. And here's some topics that you might write it out. One is, what do you do for money? Right? What do you do for your work? Because it might be a little bit different. Right? So, what is your work and your money? What does it actually look like? Do you have an amount of money you want to be making? Family, relationships, right? Do you have your partner? Do you have kids? Are you on track to having kids?
Where do you want to live? What
Mm-hmm.
location? What kind of
Yeah.
place do you want to
Do you
live
want a
in?
penthouse? Do you want just a nice enough duplex? Do you want
Do
a
you just need to
fucking
move out of
100
your
acre
parents'
property?
house? Or
Yeah,
you just need
exactly.
in the
Yeah,
next
yeah.
2 years,
Have
right?
your own place. Um,
Mhm.
yeah, yeah. So you got that. What does your community look like? Right? Do you have like a consistent weekly hangout, like with us? Right, about once a week, I'll get together with the local people that are in Young Billionaires Club as well, and we'll hang out. Right, we'll bring our for those of us who have like a wife or a girlfriend, they'll come over. We'll bring everyone bring some food. We'll play some games, and then we'll talk about this stuff, right? And so that's like what we've cultivated. But now I want to see that happening right at an even a better level, right? So I'm always working on my goal too. So what's your community look like? What is the state of the world, right? If you can think that far ahead. What types of businesses do you own? Like I want to buy a media company in the next 2 years, at least one, right? I'd always wanted to have some form of way that we can distribute like news, whether I'm on the news or you're on the news, Asif, or like, and not like a fucking news anchor, like please, but like a more like a radio show setup, right? Where you can be like reading current events and giving your take on it and making sense of it. So you got that. What does your education look like? Do you have a fucking sick library in your home? What are you doing to keep learning? Do you have mentors? Do you have peers? Are you going to events? Like in the future, part of my goal too is like I want to go to as many events as I can, like the Bulletproof Conference, Abundance 360, all the Grant Cardone stuff, like the Gary V's coming to town. Like I'm not super crazy about Gary V, but the type of community that guy creates is next level. You can't argue with the guy that he's really fucking good at making content. So I want to go see firsthand what he's all about. I mean, I've seen him a few times before, but so that type of stuff, right? That's the ideal lifestyle. And then also like, for some of us who want to get into politics, there's that whole piece. And how about also the structure? Like, for example, do you know what a trust is? Do you have estate planning? Like, are your businesses set up properly? Do you have the right funds and investments and things like that? Right? What do your businesses look like? How do they feed into each other? All this stuff is the ideal lifestyle. So for the next 4 minutes, write down all that stuff. You could go longer, right? But for now, pause the audio because Asif and I, we've done this recently. I'm not going to do it again right now, but for yourself, do it right now and then pause the audio and then come back in a moment.
Mhm.
Ding, ding, ding. All right, you're back. Let's go. For those of you who didn't do it, shame on you. Or
At
for
least
those
at
who,
least have it put into your list
yeah,
of things to
exactly.
do at
Yeah,
a certain
yeah,
time.
yeah. Put it into your list and like aim for like first thing tomorrow morning. Like do it. Like right when you wake up and you get into the zone, like go just write this out. It is so eye-opening, man. It's so eye-opening. So we got that, right? So now, what's next, baby? All right, you're gonna pick your top 1 to 3 things, right? Definitely pick something with money and definitely pick something with relationship or family or community. If you already got the really good family, then your next level is community, right? Both online and in person. And then with money, again, some people here are barely making money right now. Some people here listening have millions of dollars in the net worth. And so you got to figure out what is that next goal for you. And now here's the real juice town, as Asif calls it, right? Here's that sauce of now how do we really break this shit down? Okay. You want to start us off, Asif? Or well
Well,
let's touch on the expenses piece too.
yeah, exactly. The
Not so fast.
there's two ways of doing your expenses. Why is your expenses important? Is because one, you need to know where you're at. You need to know how much money is going out. I promise you, there's not a single person who does this exercise and doesn't feel some level of relief or clarity beyond what they were experiencing before. It never happens where somebody does this exercise, and even if their expenses were higher than they thought, they still feel relief because subconsciously that information is inside of you, and there's a reason why you don't want to look at it. Where just by looking at your expenses, because you know the score, because you know the numbers, because you have clarity, it grounds you. So there's your bare minimum basic life expenses, your rent, your food, your phone bill. You're not going to do without a phone. The basics. Okay. But then there is your lifestyle expenses. Okay. And there's kind of two levels of lifestyle expenses. So lifestyle expenses would include all the expenses I just mentioned. Basically, in order to live your life, the life that you're living right now, and maintain it, okay? Or this is where you would start connecting in the goals in a moment, but we're going to talk about that afterwards. Reverse engineering the 1 to 3 goals that you have for money, relationships, etc., and adding that into your ideal life, adding that into your goal setting. But the first thing is looking at your living expenses. So not your survival, but it's like your lifestyle expenses. Okay. So that would look like if you travel twice a year, how much does that travel usually cost you? Okay. Then if it costs you, let's say $10,000 in a year to travel twice, then you need to break that up into a monthly. The ideal is you break it up into a monthly number. Mm-hmm. Okay. And the reason for that is because, go ahead, Mitch.
Well, okay, let me just say this, right? This is going to be a one-time exclusive offer for people that are in Young Billionaires Club. So I have a spreadsheet that literally has this all broken out and will help you calculate your income and expenses, as well as then a balance sheet. So you can see your assets, liabilities, and net worth. This is a fucking golden spreadsheet that cost me a lot of money to get done. And I'm willing, if you are teachable and you really, 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 really want this, you can reach out to me. You got to go in the description, right? Or just here's the way to get it, right? It's m.me, right? This will open it on Facebook Messenger, m.me/Mitch. Yes, that's m.me/Mitch Snyder, MITCHSNYDER 01. Put that in your URL. It'll open Facebook Messenger and you can send me a message, and you have to say in all caps scorecard, and I'll have my VA send you the scorecard, because this shit will give you clarity like you've never fucking had. And then you can start to do some numbers and see, okay, for my ideal lifestyle, like Ash was talking about, right? It's like, traveling twice a year or whatever. It's like, yeah, let's say you spend $4,000 a year on travel, but then you break that up into monthly, right? So you can kind of factor in that average. Now you can put it into a spreadsheet and it will actually spit out a number for you. So if you want that, you have to reach out to me, because I'm definitely not putting that publicly, because it's too much. The average person will not be able to handle it, and they will actually fuck them over, because then they won't actually go do the thing.
Right. It is comprehensive AF. So it's really that will lay out a lot for you, and we're still going to cover the basic points in this audio, but really look at your lifestyle expenses. And another really great indicator that will give you a lot of clarity is look at the purchases that you've made over the last 6 months. So after you go over your gas, your insurance, your oil changes, your electricity, your gas, like your house gas, like your natural gas, right? Your water bill, your everything. Okay, after you do all of that, all the recurring monthly bills, okay, then you're going to look at how much money and look at all your memberships, right? If you have payments for this, payments for that, then you're going to look at how much spending do you do, miscellaneous spending. I'm sure you're getting on Amazon and spending random stuff. So do I. So does everybody. Like there's things that come up that we buy, right? So you want to be able to kind of get a number for that. And the best way to do that is if you do all your spending on one credit card, or if you do your spending across a credit card, a debit card, another credit card, you want to get all of those bills over the last 3 months, ideally over the last 6 months. I've done this over a year, but over the last 6 months, and look at all the spending that you're doing. This, yes, it requires time. Yes, it gives you amazing clarity. It gives you a sense of relief when you go through this. Even though you might realize you're spending a lot more than you had originally anticipated, it's actually very grounding for you to know the score.
Yes.
Right. So looking at your expenses over the last 6 months through the statements that you have, just getting the statements for each month for whatever cards you do spending on, and then including that into your quote unquote lifestyle expenses number. That will be able to give you a good grounding number of, oh, damn, like in order to upkeep my lifestyle and be able to travel 2 times a year and blah, 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 I need to be making $6,000 a month. but I'm only making like $4,500 a month. Oh, that explains why I'm in credit card debt.
Right. And
Right?
that explains
Oh,
why I'm always fucking concerned about money.
exactly. Right,
It's like
exactly.
you always think about money, like probably 60 times a day. You have the thought of like, oh, money on your mind, right? You go out to eat, or your friend goes, hey, want to go out to eat? And you're like, maybe we meet after dinner, right? It's like that. Because even when you're really making money, like, dude, it's so crazy, like how deep seated
100%.
this shit is, right? It's like even when you really start making money, right? It's not wise to then just, okay, well, now I can just fucking eat out all the time. It's like one of my friends I was talking to, he lives here locally. He said after he made his first million, he was spending like $6,000 a month on takeout. I'm like, that's insane. He's like, yeah, but it was like he just didn't, because he wasn't ready to handle that kind of money at that point. But thankfully he's figured it out. But yeah, that, because if you don't have like a clear plan of setting aside money to then reinvest back into your business and into yourself and like really grow your money, you will be so fucking amazed at how your income will go way up and then your expenses will go way up. It is ridiculous, right? But here's a pretty good rule of thumb, right? You can live a pretty fucking awesome lifestyle on 20 grand expenses per month, like having a family and stuff, where like you can travel. Like it's not super fucking baller, like take out the yacht and like all that shit, but like you can live like pretty amazing with that, and with that you're able to stack some money aside to then buy more assets and keep growing your wealth. So just say like 20 is pretty good, but right now you may just be looking at freaking 4K a month and like freaking out about that because you're used to just making 3K and you spend 4K and you're like, fuck, you're like in a holding pattern. Well, good thing you're in the right place, right? And you got to be coming on the Young Billionaires Club Discord calls, because we'll be able to actually show you what you can do in terms of like practical real-time stuff, because it's going to take you time to break out of this.
Right. And it's to
And
really break down your thinking, because your thinking is the fucking problem. If you can't do this effectively, if you're not like, oh fuck, I need to do this, and right now you're just listening and you're not actually planning to do this exercise, that's why you need to be in the group, because we break down the thinking that holds you from doing the how in order to get the result. Right. There's a part two. There's a part two to this lifestyle expenses thing. It's just like a little cherry on top that really gives you the full fucking picture. Is include the amount of money that you want to be putting aside for just savings and for investments. So you have your lifestyle expenses that if you had this amount of money coming in, it would take care of your lifestyle. But the cherry on top to really round it all out is, okay, you need to be making $6,000 a month to have the lifestyle you want, not to be scraping by. That's the survival expenses. That's your, when we say lifestyle expenses, we mean to live the life you want. Like $6,000 a month, you're happy. For some people, it's 15K. For some people, it's 30K. But if you add in the one more layer of how much do I want to be saving every month? How much do I want to be putting away for investment every month? And how much do I want to be adding to my quote unquote safety cushion every month? If you include that in there, that really rounds out the whole deal. Really.
Right. And factor in like how the next obvious action stuff works, where what I mean by that is, let's say right now, right, you have your goal is like, I don't know, 15K a month, right? And that's setting aside, only 500 a month into your like savings or like your fund where you can really grow stuff. Like that's fine, because when you get to 500 for a month, then you'll figure out how to get to 600 and then 700 and then 1,000 and then 2,000. It's like it will grow, right? Like you'll figure it out. But for right now, find something that you see is it's gonna stretch you, but it's not too much where then you're not like motivated. Like we still have to do play in the world. Like we have to understand that, like, dude, if you feel like shit looking at your money thing, well, one, that's a clear problem that you need help. Like we can help you with that. But then it's like, as you get the hang of this, you'll start to see like what is in your ability to actually see yourself being able to do. And then you can start to now, which the next part we'll go into is like, how do we now really start to identify the right goals to have, and then really like reverse engineer the stuff so that we can actually make it real. So,
right. Because guys, like it's so simple. Like consistency is key. We're not here to get into a whole fucking save 10% of your paycheck seminar, but it's very simple. If you just do factor in some amount of money that you should be saving per month, it will accumulate and you will be able to do shit with it. Right. For some of you who want to build your business more and they're like, but I don't have the ad spend for it. You were probably saying that 3 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. I don't have the ad the money to put into ads in order to grow the business. I want, okay, cool. Put aside $250 a month. Put aside $400 a month, $500 a month, whatever you can afford to put aside, even if it's $200 a month. But at the end of the year, you got a couple of grand, right? And if you do that, if you had started doing that at the beginning of last year, you would have been like, okay, this might float me for a couple of months to really test things out, to get that in motion. Or you wanted to invest in something, or you wanted to buy a new freaking whatever, laptop or whatever. And you've been wanting to buy a laptop for 3 years now. I wanted to buy a new laptop. Well, if you had started putting money aside, I mean, I wouldn't recommend putting aside just to buy things that don't make you money. I would suggest putting your money into things that make you money, or at least have the potential to make you money. That's always more valuable than buying things that don't make you money. But the point is, never underestimate the power of consistent growth. Okay, but anyways, on to the next one, baby.
Of course, yeah. And just one last point on that, right? This setting aside 10%.
On to the next one, babies.
not on yet. One thing that I found was very helpful was I just opened up a separate checking account, same bank, everything. It was just literally a separate account. Where then every time I paid myself, because I have my own business, so I pay myself. Every time I paid myself, well, one was every time my business got paid, I had a separate business checking account that would just automatically set 10%. And then I get excited when I could be like, oh shit, I made a bunch of extra money because I do sales. Like, let me set aside 30% this month. It was like, cool. And then it would stack and it would stack and it grows and it grows. And it's like amazing. And then also when I pay myself, I'd also set aside at least 10%. And it's like, it's so fun to watch that thing grow. It takes a little time, but it's really not that much time. And then when it is growing, like, you carry yourself differently. Your resonance is different because you're showing yourself, look, I know how to set aside money. This is how I'm actually now really able to grow my wealth. And people, you will have like different people in your life. Like, people will sense that within you. And it's amazing. It's called your resonance. So that is that. All right, y'all. That's enough on terms of the nitty gritty with that. So if you have to take an action step from that, right? Pause the audio, go do that. And now let's go back to your list, right, of your ideal lifestyle. And now let's figure out what are your top 1 to 3 goals that you have. And likely it's going to deal with money. All right. And then another one's going to deal with relationship or family or community, because that's also critical in this. And then pick another one, right? One that, gets pretty hype, that you see makes sense within the context of your purpose. Pick something else in there if you want to, right? Or you could just pick 2. But here's now how we now start to break this down. You ever heard of reverse engineering your goals, right? This is an important concept. We have to look at the goal. So let's say, for example, right? Let's say your ideal lifestyle is 20K expenses. Right now, your survival lifestyle is 10K expenses. Okay. And like, let's say right now your income is at 8K. So every month you're actually coming in cash flow negative, and you're just like living in constant like credit card debt, like trying to get the next sale, shit like that, right? So first, we got to get you to at least just break even. Okay, so if that's 10K is your break even, let's just start with that. Okay. So this is what we mean by reverse engineering. You can look at it from, okay, what do I need to actually survive? And if you're already breaking even or whatever, it's like, first get to break even. That's your first fucking goal. And you got to figure out now what you have to do to make that happen. Maybe you need to get a second job. Maybe you need to work with one of us and you can be one of our affiliates and get and bring us business, right? Maybe you need to get a temporary sales job, whatever. Like you got to just figure that out. So you're at least able to break even. And then, right, factor that into the context though of what your overall goal is. Because if you're now going to get a job and you're fucking in school, training how to learn software programming, it's like, good luck being a software programmer that can make 20K, per month. Like it's really like, that's going to take you a long fucking time. Like, fuck that. Rather, our goal is become a fucking high ticket closer like us, like learn how to sell, and we can teach you how to do that. If you're interested in that as well, just message us and just say like, I want to learn how to close, or like closer, some shit like that. We'll see your message. So now, right, once you're break even though, or a little bit positive, we now got to stair step our way up to the goal, right? If you're making, let's just make this even more simple now. Let's say your best month is 4K, right? You've had a month where you made 4K in your current job or your current
where
role.
or business or sales or whatever the case may be.
Yep, exactly. In terms of either revenue or profit. Okay, just be very clear which one you're picking. Okay, so let's say it's 4K in revenue. All right, so you got 4K in revenue, and your goal, you want to get up to that 20K, right? But you can't jump from 4 to 20K. I don't care who you are, you can't fucking do it. You can't do it and sustain it. I'll say it like that. You might get lucky. So 4K. Now let's look at the next month. How do you make 4,500 next month? Not even 5,000, 4,500. Okay. For some of you, 4,500 is not even going to be inspiring. You're like, let me do at least 5K. If you're tempted to jump to how do I make 6K next month? That's kind of a big leap, right? But hey, test it out. But I'd say, 4,500 or 5K and make that your fucking goal. And then you do that, right? And then hit that. And if you don't know how to hit that, you got to now write out step by step. What do I do to actually make a sale? Let's say you're a door knocker, right? And if I knock 100 doors a day, I will on average, 10 demos, and then I'll get 5 sales out of that. Cool. 5 sales a day gets me X amount of money. It's like you just got to reverse engineer it so you understand how much you need to do. And at some point you might realize, oh shit, I can't actually get that much money in my current position. Cool. Now you're going to have to innovate. But let's at least make sure your survival's covered. And then you can start factoring in, okay, how much money would I need to be making? How many sales would I need to be doing? And what is the offer that I can be selling for to make that happen?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's a lot of specificity of doing this, okay? Because there are multiple variables that play into, I'll talk about, for example, being a salesperson. And here's the tricky part. If you have a job where you can't manipulate the income that you're getting, like if you can't raise the income that you're getting, this is going to be very difficult. You're going to have to find some other way to make money. Okay. And that counts, right? If you had a job where you're making 3,800, 3,896 after taxes every month, well, then your win would just be finding another way to make money. And if you make an extra $200 in a month, you're like, oh shit, maybe I should do this more because I could just make an extra 500, an extra 800, an extra 1,000. And if you tailor that additional income to your life, if you attach me making an extra $500 equals my life gets better by writing out what you would do with an extra $500 a month, that's how you really connect the points. Otherwise, money will just feel like this, you'll feel unattached from money. You'll be like, I'm not really after money. And you're always going to wonder why you're not satisfied, why you're not happy, right? And my point is, you do have to have a certain level of finances coming in order to be happy. It's a prerequisite to being happy. Why do I say that? Because you got to have your food covered. You got to have your rent covered. You got to have your water covered, the basic needs, right? You have to have your clothing covered. You have to have, right? So my point is, having these things covered are very, very important, very, very essential, right? You're going to want to move out on your own, all these points. So if you're at a job, yes, you can get a better job. That would be a nice big step of getting a better job to up your income. But another way, you're going to have to face it sooner or later. If you're listening to these audios, this is a Young Billionaires Club, baby. I'm not saying just stay at a job. That's a bunch of bullshit. I'm not saying you should quit your job right now either. I'm saying you should get a side gig and start building a business. If you don't know a business, reach out to me and Mitch. We've got suggestions for you, of course. But the point is, building a business on the side, or at least being at a job where you are a salesman, where you can up your income, is kind of a prerequisite to this. So you can actually change your income. And then as you're reverse engineering, you have to look at the practical things. So just like Mitch said, this is my closing ratio. And based off my current closing ratio, in order to make that much money, I would have to make this many sales. And based off my closing ratio, I would have to talk to this many people. And usually, in order to talk to this many people, I have to call this many people. So it might look like a sale a day is what's going to give me the money that I want. In order to make one sale, I have to talk to 10 people, because 5 of them I actually get through my presentation, and then I close one of them. And then to talk to 10 people, I have to make 80 calls a day to actually talk to 10 people, not just get a voicemail and tell them bye. So
Yeah.
what you might realize from that is, say you reverse engineer your number and it's like you have to call like 400 people a day. That doesn't make any sense. That's not practical.
Mhm.
That's not sustainable. Maybe the other variable is you're not good enough yet. You have to up your skills. Another reason, like again, Mitch has undergone some real ass sales training that made him a beast. I've been through some real ass sales training over the years and years and years of my life since I was 16 years old. That made me a beast. So we're really good at training in the sales training aspect of things. So if you need any support with that, reach out. But that's another variable you got to look at is your skill set. If you have to give 10 people your presentation or 20 people your presentation in order to make one sale, and then you reverse engineer that in order to give 20 people a presentation in a day, then I have to talk to X amount of people. In order to talk to X amount of people, I have to knock this amount of doors or make this amount of calls, and it works out to be 400 calls. You need to up your skill set. So I'm just giving you the dynamics of how other variables play into this reverse engineering of your goals. Okay, something to look out for.
Fuck yeah. So that's basically it in terms of how you break this down. If you need more support one-on-one on this, like if this is not clear to you and coming naturally, reach out because we can do more direct support one-on-one of helping you like see your situation because hey, maybe you're in debt or something, or maybe you I don't know, you have multiple businesses and you're not sure which one to focus on, whatever. Okay, cool. Like reach out to us. So here's the last part, right? This is where it all comes together, right? This is where the ideas and everything meets your real life, and then what you get to actually experience and create is
where you take it out of your mind and into reality. Come on,
exactly,
baby. Make a realization, right?
Hey, if you didn't watch our episode on realization, you need to watch that. All right, so here's what it is, right? You got to now put it into your schedule and into that damn to-do list, right? Like you got to actually now just go do the thing. So you reverse engineer your goal, and then you realize, okay, I need to now talk to 20 people this week and get a real pitch in for my business. Or I need to do 6 presentations this week, or I need to go find a side gig or whatever. Now you got to build out now what does your day-to-day look like? Maybe you just do six days a week, right? And you don't work 7 days a week. Maybe you do work all 7 days a week. Maybe you can only do 4 hours a day and you can only do it a certain amount of time. Whatever.
And let me say this for the people who are just starting their first business or whatever the case may be. Don't focus on, like, okay, for example, if you start a new business, you haven't made a sale yet. You haven't even been through a full cycle of a sales process. Your first goal should just be make your first sale. And even before making your first sale, it should be how many times have you done the process of making
yeah. Go do the process 3 or 5 times. Yes. And just that's the fucking win. Like go just get through, like if you have to do like a presentation, let's say, or if you have to go, I don't know, do a demo or something, right? Just go do the fucking demo 3 times or 5 times and just get through it. And then when you're done, write down, okay, what went well, what didn't go well, get some feedback from people around you, where then you can realize, okay, now what I got to do, right?
That's
if
your
you're
goal.
focused on, if you're focused
not
on
money.
a sale, if you're focused on a sale, that's sometimes it's too much for people. Like if you don't know how to close, just get through the damn process a few times and face your fears, get the rejection, get the objection, stuff like that, and then learn how to fucking solve it. And then your goal can move to, okay, so I've done 5 of these presentations. Now my goal is to get a sale. Okay, great, right? So it's like you're constantly now able to change what you focus on. In a real fucking goal, right? This Young Billionaires Club, right? This isn't positive thinking land. Young Billionaires Club is you should be fucking obsessed with that goal. If you're like, I need to get my 3 presentations in, like, okay, who can I hit up right now? How can I go into this group, or how can I go here and talk to these people and get these set up, right? It's like you should be obsessed with it and wanting to do it. Because guess what? That's going to lead to the sale, which leads to multiple sales, which leads to the growth, the business growth, and then the lifestyle that you want. How else are you going to get the lifestyle you want? Wait for a fucking lottery ticket? That's what you've been programmed for. Fuck
Come
lottery
on.
Tickets.
Get that shit out of here, boy.
Yeah, fuck
Come
that.
on.
All right.
So just want to make that really clear. For those of you who don't have that first sale yet, that money goal does not practically make sense for you. Maybe in your ideal lifestyle, yes, 100%. But as you're reverse engineering, if you haven't made your first sale yet, you don't know your closing ratio, blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of reasons for it. So we're suggesting focus on the activity, because the first thing you have to do, your goal is to walk through fear. Your goal is to walk through doing shit.
Yeah.
Right. Which is you're giving your 3 presentations, whatever. Maybe you've only ever gave 1 presentation before, and it was 8 months ago, and you kind of quit and you kind of came back. Like, I don't know what it looks like for you, but if that was the case, you'd be like, okay, I'm going to give 2 presentations. I'm going to give 3. I'm going to give 5. I'm going to give 10. And what you're doing, let's say your goal was, I'm going to give 10 presentations to my business, or I'm going to go to 10 businesses and talk. Maybe you're doing business to business sales, right? And you're like, I'm going to approach 10 businesses this week. Okay, or whatever the case may be, with a proposal or whatever. You need to reverse engineer that. It's like, okay, how many businesses do I need to talk to then? Right? How many people do I have to DM or whatever lead generation method that you use? That's what you're doing. You're reverse engineering how to get the presentation. How many people do you have to talk to get the presentation? So just to give clarity on that for those of you who are just getting going.
Yeah, and then you got to figure out, yeah, exactly. What is that activity every week? And then what is that activity every day? Yes. What is it, right? Be fucking hyper clear on it. And you can if you're really fucking focused, you can do this whole thing in like 5, maybe 4 hours a day. You could probably even do it in like 3 hours a day if you're really, really focused and adamant about it. 100%. Like, it's not that hard. So it's just, it takes a little bit of fine tuning, and it takes you to have the willpower to just go and do the damn thing and then keep going after you hit some rejection or the failure, and then all the shit from childhood comes up. Oh my gosh, it reminds me of someone other time I failed and I feel sad. Right. It's like, stop being a fucking loser and just be a winner, right? You have to lose sometimes in order to win. You're going to have some losses along the way, but just learn the lesson, right?
Yeah,
if you have the loss, don't lose the opportunity to learn. Like, I know that sounds so damn cliche, but it's so true. By the end of every time you do the process, so if it's like a presentation or something, or your demo or whatever you're doing, right? By the end, you should sit down and write out, okay, what could have gone better? And then what am I going to do to change? And then it's like your little system, right? You basically, especially if you're in sales, sometimes you got to create the job for yourself. Like, some of you who are trying to be entrepreneurs, you have to literally make your business a job. That's what I did. And that's how I grew the TechnoTutor business so rapidly. It's because I literally just treated it like a job, and I would just work it every single day. I started with 4 hours, and then I built it out to 8 hours. Some days I'll do 12 hours. And it's like, I'm not always doing lead gen at the same time. Like, sometimes it's calls, sometimes it's making content, sometimes it's doing a clubhouse, doing meetings, stuff like that. But it's like, that's the level of discipline that you're going to have to create for yourself. Otherwise, you're going to have that discipline from a job. And so either way, you're going to have to put in the work, but you can put in the work wisely. So the next 2 years, you can actually create the life that you want, instead of the life that and just get plugged into the fucking system. Like, fuck that. We're here to change the system. So yeah, get it broken down now into the daily activity you got to do. Get hype about it. Think about it all the time. I would write it out on a piece of paper and look at it every single day, fine tune it, optimize it, and grow it, and realize as you do this week after week, and then you come on the Young Billionaires Club calls. If you have TechnoTutor, come on the support calls on Friday night. Like, you got to be
all over them.
Yeah, exactly. Like, just all out,
come,
right?
Just come.
Because, right, you're gonna now, it's like when you're doing all this output now, and you're like pushing yourself, and you're like going out, you're talking to people, you're getting beat up by the world, all that stuff. You need to now have a place where you can plug back into and recharge. That's your support and your structure.
Zap of life back into you,
yeah,
baby.
Exactly. And then listen to these Young Billionaires Club calls, and like, you gotta be part of a group to do this, because otherwise the group of the world and society is gonna fucking beat you up, and it's gonna feel shitty, and you're gonna not want to keep going. But when you get the zap of life from our calls and the support and everything, and then, once a quarter we do events, things like that. Come to the live events, right? Work your ass off so you can actually get it to the event. That's like a recharge and an expansion too, right? It allows you to expand and stay expanding, and that is then how. I'm 2 years in. I didn't even remember. I'm a little over 2 years into the TechnoTutor business, and it pays for everything that I need. And we have a pretty fucking expensive lifestyle. Like, Jessica buys a lot of shit. And it's amazing, right? It's from the TechnoTutor business. I live, breathe, and eat it. It's amazing, right? And then as I'm going, right, I can tuck money aside for more assets and stuff. So I keep expanding, right? And then I reinvest back into the business, and it's wonderful. And so I would suggest everyone, if you're not clear on the business and what to do, how to break it down into the daily stuff, just reach out, right? It's here, and the opportunity is here for the taking if you fucking step up and, reach out. So
That at the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, if you've heard this audio and you haven't already planned your to-do and you haven't already cemented in the agreement that you're going to do these steps, then you need to reach out. There is something deeper that is holding you back from actually facing what you need to face in order to do the how to get the results you want.
yeah,
So that's why I'm here. That's why Mitch is here, to help you with the stuff that nobody else can frankly help you with, just because we have the tools that work.
yes,
So that's where the one-on-one comes in. And like Mitchell was saying, this is where the group comes in, is everybody else is trying to bring you down and take from you and suck life from you. We're here to give life. So make sure you're plugging into those calls on Sundays to really get that recharge that you need, because you hear guys winning, and facing challenges, then winning. It really is uplifting. It gives you that boost that you need to go and crush it that week. So
yes,
it's of utmost importance. And that link is in the description below for the Discord.
yes. That is that, everyone. All right. You know what to fucking do. Come on, baby.
Yeah,
Let's go, baby.
Go.
And then stay tuned, right? Because guess what? Asp and I, right? We live and breathe this stuff. So you'll see us now over the next weeks, months, and years living this. And you know how they say you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time around? Guess what? That's why we created the Young Billionaires Club. So you can have people like, especially think about this. You could have some really good friends, right? Maybe you have a business partner who's like crushing it, or like you sometimes come on some of the calls we have. But if you have a roommate, or you still live with your parents, or you live with a sibling or cousin or something, right? Or you're still working a job, guess what? 8 hours a day, you're spending time with the people who work next to you. Like, that's really the patterns that you're downloading.
Oh no.
Right. And and they're gonna be like, oh my God, like, did you hear about Ukraine? Oh my God. It's like, yeah. But you want to be around the people that say, yeah, did you hear about what happened in Ukraine? Yeah, let's fucking change the system so that shit doesn't have to happen anymore. That's what we're all about, right? And if you can't get with us, well,
I'm working a job and everybody's retarded.
I don't think you're able. If you haven't figured out by now how to get around those people,
listen to the audio again.
Yeah, listen to the audio again. And so
4 or 5 times. Okay.
Right, and the audio itself, right, will be good, right, because this will help change your thinking patterns. Yet, right, to have that dialogue and that back and forth, that is something that just listening to an audio will not change. So you got to participate, and and then help us grow this damn thing, right? So go share this audio with 3 people who need to hear it. Leave a comment of what you're going to do differently. Leave a comment with what you learned. Give us an upvote. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the Young Billionaires Club stuff. Like, there's just so much stuff you can do, right? So
your lovely friends aren't even doing this goal setting exercise. Share with them. They'll be grateful for you.
Right, exactly. And some of them might get triggered, and hey, that's great, because some people just get jealous, right? Because when you're actually doing something with your life, people around you who have already fucking given up, they will get jealous and they will talk shit about you. They will try and say, oh, who do you think you are? Why do you think you're posting this shit? All that. And guess what? Now, because you're part of this group, guess who's going to have your back? Right? Us. Right? If you're united in purpose with us and you start speaking out, like, shout out to some of the guys that I see are really stepping up. They're making live streams. They're talking about shit that really matters. And then they have people come on their post and troll. I will go in there and I will fucking rip apart those trolls, because I realize they're just being fucking spiteful. Fuck that, right? But I'll tear them up with the intention of, hey, look, if you want to actually see a way forward so you can step up and do something real with your life instead of just being a waste of life, join us, right? And so we'll go savage mode too sometimes.
And the flip side of that is you will share things. You will share this with certain people that you didn't even know why you shared it with them. You just chose that person, shared this audio with them. And on the flip side of people being losers and haters, you also have the people who are like, damn, what the fuck is this? I want to be a part of this. This is what I've been looking for. This is what I've been waiting for. Thank you. You will always find those people in that batch, because just as much as there are wimpy ass pussies who aren't doing anything with their life and just want to take from you, take your energy, make you feel like shit, there are also people in this world who are the exact opposite, who are like, I need to do more with my life. I want to give, I want to support, I want to take my life to the next level. Those are the people that we're looking for. And by sharing it, just every audio you listen to, share it with a couple people, share it with 3 people that you're like, I don't know, but something about this told me that you might like this. Not sure. Let me know what you think. Man, you're going to find those people that will become your tribe. I mean, that's how I built, you know, how in a moment's notice, we can pack a room of 40, 50 people in Ottawa. The way we got there was high school friends. There's literally some high school friends of mine that were doing drugs and like just addicted to playing sports and making, you know, relatively no money and all this stuff. These are the key players in my Ottawa squad now who are now making money, and they know what the fuck they're doing. They went from making $0K to $14,000 a month just because of me reaching out, putting out content, them reaching out and being like, hey, I know we haven't talked in forever, but XYZ. Hey, I like what you're doing. Like, okay, cool, let's chat. And,
yes,
and the rest
I welcome
history,
those too, right? I love when people reach out and they're like, hey, I think we went to high school together. It's kind of cool what you're posting. Like, what's this all about?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And hey, we've also had our fair share of people that as well. They're like, hey, like, who do you think you are? Like, why are you posting about this? Like, you're so insensitive to people who don't want to improve their life and shit. It's like, fuck you. They're like, how dare you think that? So we talk about self-perfection in one of our other groups, which is like actually taking self-improvement seriously. Like, wow, how dare you try and discredit the people that are trying to just do self-improvement? I'm like, why are you just doing self-improvement? Like, why are you limiting yourself? We're here for self-perfection, baby. It's so fun, right? You can just play with people, right? And it's so funny because some people will say shit that they would never in a million fucking years say to your face. And I say, hey,
man,
come to my clubhouse. Come to the clubhouse and meet other cool people, right? You might make some new friends. And then they just don't fucking respond, right? Because they're hiding.
With you, man.
Exactly.
Like, hey, let's just chat. Let's just chat. We can work it out. There's a lot that's mystery text. No, I don't want to be associated with you in any way. I'm like, oh, all right, cool.
Yeah, it's like, okay, good luck with that.
Why'd you message me then? Yeah.
Right, exactly. It's like they do want it. Their egos just got them fucking by the balls or by the vagina or whatever. It's like, okay, cool.
I got a good one, man. I have somebody who's always sitting on all my posts, right? Well, from before. Mm-hmm. This is earlier. And she was like, hey, my suggestion, she's telling other people, she said, hey, my suggestion would just be unfriend them and like unfriend Asif and you know, so that you don't have to see it. And the person's like, yeah, damn straight. And they unfriended me. That person is still friends with me. And they're still checking out everything I'm doing. It's hilarious. And my wife, right? Man,
so
like,
funny.
why? She's like, why is she still friends with you? I'm like, that's the ego. Can't
yes,
get enough of
that is the ego, right? It goes way deeper than we can go into here. Like, you got to really understand things like programming and fucking energy and the ego and stuff, which we'll go into in future episodes of this. But yeah, for now, you just realize like when you start stepping up, right, you will get attention. And some people, because they've already given up within themselves and they've accepted that they think they can't do anything with their lives, keyword, they think they can't, they still can, right? But they have to walk their process to it. They will just get jealous and turn nasty and fucking spiteful. And they will try and take you down. And it is so fucking fun because when you stand over time, guess what? Some of those people, they will actually come back around too. Not all of them, but some of them come back around. They're like, yo, like, I actually see what you're doing now. This is pretty cool. Like, sorry that I was talking shit. Like, yeah, it's fine. Okay, fucking join us now.
Yeah,
like, I'm not here to hold a grudge against someone. Like, I have no fucking time for that. That's a waste of time and energy, right?
Everybody on the same page.
Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm focused on finding the fucking people who can hear us and are like, yo, like I'm pretty close to my ideal life and living my purpose. I just need some help. That's what we're focused on. That's who we really want to help. We'll help anyone, but like that's the people because they're actually teachable, right? They'll take the advice and they'll fucking run with it. Like there's too many people for me to shout out on here, but like for example, like Ali, Jude, right? I've seen you, Eric Vigil, Dylan, Pedro, obviously, Dylan. Dante, right? Carl. Yeah, Dylan, yeah, fuck yeah. It's like there's so many people who they take it on and then they fucking run with it. And it's like, let's go. Because it's just the new 1%. We don't need everyone to understand it right now. Because down the road, when eventually they can see us, they'll be like, oh, cool, you guys weren't kidding. You were going to raise the new next generation of geniuses and change the system. Thanks. I'm sorry I talked so much shit. You know, maybe they'll take it to the grave being spiteful. I don't know. I hope not, but whatever. You can only change so many people's minds yourself. That's why we have the group, right? So let's go, baby. Let's all fucking hit our goals. Crush our goals. Let's set records on how fast we crush our goals. And then we can all do a testimonial video, right? So for all y'all who do this and you fucking dominate, hit us up because we want to do testimonial and showcase you and we'll put you in the spotlight so that people can watch and see, holy shit, that person's fucking crushing it. Okay, cool, everyone. We'll see you next time. And yeah, that was fun, man. Let's keep going, right? Hey, all right.